So today we're here in front of the courthouse steps of Monterey County Superior Court because there have been about a dozen people who've gotten tickets for having their tent up after 6 a.m., having a rope attached to a fence, or obstructing the sidewalk. So all these fines are about $150 a piece, and you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip, but that's kind of what we're looking at, is a debtor's prison type of situation, because nobody's going to be able to afford it. So we're standing in solidarity to support these people, because this is only the first wave. There's probably been at least 50, 100 tickets given out already, just in the last couple months, and it's going to continue. So we're trying to set a precedent and object to some of the constitutionalities of this homeless ordinance. So we have with us today Anthony Prince, our legal representation for the Monterey County Homeless Union. He called this press conference, and I think we'll go ahead and let him talk first, and then we'll listen to everybody else for a minute.
Okay, Wes, well, thanks. Again, my name is Anthony Prince. I'm very proud to be General Counsel for the Salinas Monterey County Homeless Union. And as Wes said, tomorrow here in this courthouse, there will be a dozen members of the homeless community who will be arraigned on charges of violating the ordinance that was enacted here to criminalize the conduct of homeless people. As Wes pointed out, some of the people have been charged with failing to remove their tents promptly at 6 a.m. One of the victories that we were able to get in the last round of federal litigation was to permit camping, overnight camping, on public property here in the city of Salinas between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. But it appears that the city wants to get rid of that too. And so they're harassing people as they're camping and forcing them to endure police harassment. I understand that police and other city officials are rolling up on people at the break of dawn and citing them and telling them to get out, and they need to break camp, and if they don't do it promptly, they're getting written up, and some of them will be here tomorrow morning. We're out here to show solidarity. We'll be back here tomorrow morning when court opens, and it's true that the law, the conduct of the city of Salinas, we feel is unconstitutional. We feel that until housing is provided, that there should be no sanctions, criminal sanctions against people who are just trying to survive. I think it's disgraceful that in the city of Salinas, you have in the last year almost 50 young people who have died as a result of inter-youth violence, and yet the police department and the resources of the city are going towards harassing and prosecuting a woman who tied her tent to a fence. I think that's a complete upside-down priority. We have some real issues here. Today, the fires in Carmel Valley, the Big Sur fires, as toxic chemicals and smoke have poured into this area, the air quality officials have told people to stay indoors. But for homeless people, there is no indoors. And because the city prohibited camping during the day and forces homeless people to walk around with all their possessions and will arrest homeless people if they set their possessions down, even momentarily, they're breathing this very dangerous air. So the city, by its policy, is contributing to increasing the risk, health risks, that everyone in this area is being warned to avoid. I would say, and again, we want to point out that this is not just here in Salinas, it's happening all over the country, where efforts are being made to criminalize homeless people. But we're fighting back here. We've been fighting back since we formed the Homeless Union on Martin Luther King's birthday in January of this year. And we're still here. The union is still here, the union is growing, and we're showing what it means to be a union member by sticking up, one for all for one. So with that, I think we'll have some comments from some of the other members of the union and our supporters, and I'm going to pass the microphone. I guess we'll have Janet say a few words. Janet May.
My name is Janet May, and I've been homeless for about 3 years. I am now the executive director of the Salinas Homeless Coalition, and we just started in November a year ago. And we're doing it slowly, but we're also coincide with the Monterey County Homeless Union. I'm the immediate personnel of the board, and I have been talking to people about how they feel about being homeless and how they were told to stay inside, and they're asking me, how in the world can they stay inside when there's nothing to do? I ran into a lady who's been homeless longer than I have. She's older than I am. And I could tell the way she's acting, she's not really in good health. And she's even telling me she's been having problems with this burnout. And it affecting her breathing, and it affects her from sleeping. And I feel sorry for her. There is no services to provide the homeless, including the elderly, with masks so they can breathe without getting bad. And for them to be citing the homeless people who's trying to pack up when they're supposed to and trying to be safe where they're not afraid to be having their tent blown away when they're inside because of the wind, that is wrong. That is very wrong. I've heard a lot of stuff, and I'm just learning the code and the violations that they have done. But what can we do? What can the homeless do? That is why we are organized to help the homeless, and we're doing the best we can. But it's not only up to us. It's up to everybody, the community, the city, the state, even the police department, the health department, and the social services should be able to help as an emergency response. Because I hate to see the homeless unable to breathe, and the family that they don't have near them having to have bad news of supposedly their death. And I hate for them to sue the county and the city of Salinas and Monterey because of this. So everybody should be on their toes, and everybody should help out. Just don't leave it to one group, even though there's about 3 groups here. Everybody should help out. Everybody should have a heart. And that includes people in the churches too. Thank you.
Hi, I'm a commissioner here in Monterey County, and I've been fighting for affordable housing and the homeless since the closure of Fort Ord in 1994. Instead of dealing with the problem, it's increasing. This is America, one of the richest nations in the world, and we cannot provide living quarters for our people, for the citizens, to the residents, not only of Salinas, but also in Monterey, Seaside, all around the state of California. We need to look at how we're spending tax dollars. First of all, there's not enough livable wage jobs, hardly for anybody that is of a low income level to survive and care for their families. We need to do something about this. That's why we have a government. That's why we have elected officials. But since we're the ones, the citizens, the people, the residents, since we have to push the issue, we are pushing it. Legislation, laws, rules, everything else should provide a way for people to care for themselves. We need to teach people how to fish, okay? We can't do that without providing the jobs that would be sustainable and afford people to have a place to live. And if they don't have a place to live, we should provide those places. There is enough for everybody. God created this world that it will provide for us all. And nobody should feel like they're more important than other people. Most people are just a day away from being homeless because they have to have a way to pay to have a place to stay. We have hotels charging people ridiculous amounts of money. The transportation is ridiculous. The people who are making the money, like the giant corporations, giant airlines, this is a disaster. This is a disaster, and it must be dealt with. And Monterey County, all of the different departments that say, oh, no, we do this and we do that, we need to get together here and provide for the people who live here. We are all the same. No big I's and little U's. And status does not mean that we can ignore the people who don't have. Thank you.
Just a quick note, my name is Gresham. I'm editor of Voices of the Street, a little newspaper that basically gives a platform for the homeless to be able to speak from. I'd like to make an appeal to all the legal community out there. We have a very unique situation here in Salinas that all of our neighboring cities don't have. One, we do have a right to have a little bit of sleep at night. We can set up a tent from 6 at night to 6 in the morning. That did not come from a good-natured thing. We basically had to fight for that, and being that we fought for it, now the tide rolls back, and now the city officials coming back with a little bit more force. We need to be able to keep up a legal protection of our rights, and I want to make an appeal for the legal counsel, National Legal Guild, some of the student lawyers and concerned citizens and lawyers to come and help us in our plight, because we lose our property, we lose our abilities to maintain ourselves, and it basically puts everybody at harm's way.
My name is Robert Aguirre. I live in San Jose, and I'm here supporting this group. I'd like to point out the fact that what we're facing here is a systemic problem. When you have a society that decides who's disposable and who's not, then you end up with the problem that's been existing for all time, is that if you have people that you don't want, you either banish them or you confine them. And when you have people that are confined to a specific area and they're told that they have to be there only between certain hours and they have to leave at a certain time, and it's public property, well, that property becomes, it's public, so anybody has a right to be there at any time that the park is open or the area is authorized to have people. So if you have somebody that lives in a home and they decide to come there at 6 a.m. and they want to be there, they should be allowed to be there. They shouldn't be run off. They shouldn't be criminalized for what they're doing. The people that are living out on the street are just like everyone else that are living in homes. They have the only difference between them and the people in homes is that those people have houses and these people don't. So we need to understand that we have a responsibility to all of our citizens. The county has a responsibility for the health and welfare of all the citizens in the county. Every county has that mandate that's delivered from the state. So when we start talking about people's health and their condition, whether they are breathing in foul air or whether they're living in the streets and becoming ill as a result of sleeping on concrete or sleeping out in the open, these are all health issues, and we need to hold our county officials accountable for that. We need to let them know that they're falling down on their job and that they need to take responsibility. every person that lives in this area has a right to this city. And when you start segregating people and putting people into little categories and saying, you can't be here because you're part of that category or you're not part of this other category, I think Dr. Seuss made a really nice story about the people with the stars on the belly. If you ever get that reference, you can check it out. So what we have here, again, is a group of people that are disenfranchised, a group of people that are speaking up for themselves, trying to bring power to their situation and trying to get alleviation from unfair, unjust criminalization of their status. And so we need to change that, and the people in authority need to understand that everyone in the city has a right to be in the city. Thank you.
We'll go Glenn first.
Can address the bathroom that they're hovering over the fence and they want to catch them and go into the restroom.
You want to go, Edward? You got?
I think you would do, but not that. I'll give you the stage. Thank you.
We're all just here. I know I'm here, and then our group here to end to put an end to the criminalization of the homeless here in Salinas, to make sure that the city is held accountable for helping to not just spend their money on police sweeps and on criminalization and on ticketing and through endless litigation here in the courthouse of using taxpayer money that could be used to assist the homeless through not just through providing some sort of providing housing, but providing mental health services, providing health services, providing food services for the homeless. Those monies need to be allocated towards helping those in the community and not against those in the community. The money that is spent on frivolous things in the city entertaining big ag and big billionaires and entertaining dog parks and entertaining what have you, where we have our homeless here over 100 days in front of City Hall, constantly under police harassment, having to go through court, endless court, and just constant ticketing, sending the people out onto the outskirts of town, or trying to push those in the homeless community out of town. That also, we call for an end to those sweeps, an end to just an end to the criminalization of the homeless, and we need to come together as a community, as Salinas, for each other. We are all Salinas. A home does not make you any type of better person than our homeless brothers and sisters. So we need to end that discrimination as well, and end the invisible people, and looking at homeless as invisible people, and start to incorporate them into our community. We can build and grow Salinas into a strong, people-driven community, not a community driven by big money and those that think that they have the money and that they have the only say in what goes on in this city. Like I said, we are all this city. We are all Salinas, and we will take back the city, and we will let them know that we are here and we are strong, and we are not going to back down until we end the criminalization and end these sweeps and end this constant war against our homeless here in Salinas and in our neighboring cities here. Thank you.
My name is Glen Areta, and I've been homeless here in Salinas for about 2 years now. And before I was, my health hasn't really been that well, but lately it's gotten worse. And sleeping on cement, and even though you got cardboards under you and stuff like that, it's still hard. And it's really taking a toll on me. And this just has to stop. It's too much already. We all can't take this. Not only me, but we all can't take this. It's time for us to be heard. And that's why I use this sign. It's like we're the unseen, and we need to be heard, not just be unseen and be pushed away. And that's not the answer. The answer is to make some solutions and do some fix the problems. And by ticketing people and harassing people, the homeless people, it's not the answer. We need someone to start stepping up and doing something for this. And so I thank you very much for letting me speak.
All right, well, I got a couple things to say. So the sign here says, if the rule is cruel, don't be a tool. That kind of implicates, don't be passing bad rules. Make them, worthy, appropriate. Because the way that this ordinance is set up is to drive people out of town. We've been told that Salinas does not want to be known as a sanctuary city for homeless. So they've repelled the homeless by this ordinance. They even, in the very beginning, they didn't care about anybody's property whatsoever, so bulky items was a very vague term that basically meant if we decided we didn't like it, we'd throw it away. And you had no chance of getting that back. Well, they were obviously wrong about that, so they repealed that ordinance. But then they're still taking away people's stuff, and they're still limiting, even in their ordinance it says personal property. It doesn't say how much, how little, just all of it. They're going to store all of your personal property, but then when you get there, they'll give you one trash can, and if you really ask nicely and you beg, you might get two. But I think in the actual language of the ordinance, they're supposed to take everything that is claimed as personal property. And then there's people that have sets of stuff, and they say, that's way too much, you can take a third of it, but I'm throwing 2/3 of it away. When people got rolled up out of the pit, the city says, because they were getting help from a pastor, and he said, well, you should tell that pastor to set you outside of city limits, because otherwise we're going to keep on coming after you. Now, what kind of a law makes it to where you have to live out of a backpack? If you're too poor to afford rent, that is your lot in life. And if you don't like it here in Salinas, go somewhere else. And that is the message they are giving you. And they've actually said that straight out. That's what they want, is for people to get so frustrated in being in Salinas that they just volunteer to leave. But there's a lot of people who are born here, raised here, lived here most of their life, and they expect to die here. They've got family here. A lot of extended family within this region and this area. So why are you going to push them out into the boonies, someplace, a back of the line where they're complete strangers somewhere else? Take care of your own people. Don't be mean to them. It's a matter of how you treat people, man, and the intention behind the laws. We're so interested in big box business and being business friendly, cost saving, anything to cut corners, and we're losing sight of the fact that city services, county services, the bus, those are all public entities, and they have an obligation to take care of the public. So, the buses, there's people that ride the bus every day that are homeless, yet we're told, no, we're not going to leave the bathrooms open overnight because they're only for customers. People ride the bus every day. So then what happens? Well, now that the bathrooms are closed, where are you going to go? If you're homeless, you don't have a toilet readily accessible, so you have to go because you got to go. It's a natural bodily function. And then you get a ticket for public urination because Even after we ask, they say no. So I'd call that entrapment. That's exactly what that is. You don't provide anywhere else for them to go, so you can't allow them the opportunity to do the appropriate behavior, and they're left to only do the inappropriate behavior and you catch them for it. That's wrong. So this is the kind of stuff that we're going up against. Shelter is a human right. Any condition, right now we got the smoke, but even the sun is hot in the daytime. You need shade. That's one of the 3 basic elements of human survival: food, clothing, and shelter. And shelter is one of those. Sleeping is a human right. And Santa Cruz got it worse than Salinas. You can't even sleep. They will give you a ticket for just laying down on the sidewalk at 11 o'clock. So, I guess we could have it worse, but it's pretty bad here, and it's still not right. So we need to change this ordinance, make it work the way it's supposed to. The administrative procedure says that they will connect people with services within 72 hours. That's never happened. And if all you're going to do is pass out a card and a brochure of all these services where everybody's already gone, so then they can be still on the waiting list, that's not connecting people with anything. That's why I came up with that in the first off. 15 days or 3 months. Unless you actually do something, it doesn't matter how much time you give them. You need to actually do something positive for these people. Because after all, they are our citizens, our residents. And we're supposed to take care of them. And we're losing that obligation, and we're losing the faith, public trust. All facets. Because we're not valuing people. We're valuing the dollar. And we need to stop that. Take care of your people.
Okay, well, listen, I think it was very important for us to be here today. We have these events where we group together and make our voices heard and make our position clear. And we're learning in the process of doing this. We're learning to find our own voice. And that's the most important thing, is to lead our own struggle. We don't need to be, someone else speak for us. We can speak for ourselves. And I'm just a member of this team. That's the way we're going to go forward. And so I will be in New York for the National Lawyers Guild Convention. I'm going to go ahead and show these comments. They'll be happy to hear from us, I know, out in Salinas. And we'll see everybody here tomorrow morning, 7:30, and then we'll enter the courtroom where everyone will be arraigned. They're going to arraign everybody in Judge Burleson's courtroom. So we'll go up there, we'll make our presence known, and that will be the first event. And then as these cases go through, as these prosecutions go forward, and as defense is being raised on behalf of these defendants, we'll be there to support them all the way. Okay? All right, so when I say what do we want, let's say union. When do we want it? Now. So what do we want? Union. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Union. When do we want it? Now. Well, guess what? We got a union now. All right.